Broke Ride Media.
You're now listening to The Straight Shooter Show with your host, The Straight Shooter.
All right, well, welcome to The Straight Shooter Show. This week I did a video. Somebody had asked a question about being friends with the ex. I did a response video saying I just don't understand the whole being friends with the ex. I mean, you broke up for a reason. I don't see how it could be beneficial moving forward. I'm not saying be hateful by any means. You should be civil no matter what. But, you know, if you end up in another relationship or they do, they're not really going to understand that friendship so much. At any rate, made this video about it, and there was several comments about, well, if there's kids involved, you need to be friends. And I disagreed with that as well, because I made the video saying that if you're friends with somebody, that's somebody that you confide in, it's somebody you spend time with, you know, you go to dinner with, you know, you talk to them about your everyday life, your issues, your other relationships. And if you are co-parenting, that's one thing. But to talk to them about your relationships with other people is not only unnecessary, but could be very dangerous. Because if your ex has any kind of feelings for you, or if they just aren't happy with the person that you're with, you're going to get bad advice. You're going to get bad feedback from your ex. They're not necessarily going to be in your corner, although they may come off as that they are. And so when it comes to co-parenting, you know, it's business. That's all it is. It's just business. You cannot, in my opinion, you cannot be buddies with your ex. So when it comes to like birthday parties and, you know, Thanksgivings and Christmas or whatever, if everybody wants to get together for the kids' sake and get along, man, that's fantastic. I mean, whatever's best for your child is what you should do. And, you know, and you can come off as being friends or friendly, but again, you don't want to treat them like you do all your other friends. One person even said, well, I treat everybody the same. And that really struck me as, you treat everybody the same? I mean, how do you make anyone feel special if you treat everyone the same? I mean, if I'm in a relationship, a romantic relationship, I don't treat them the same that I do everybody else. And so if you treat everybody the same, leave a comment on this video and tell me how you can make anyone feel special if you treat everyone the same. At any rate, I just really want to talk about the co-parenting thing today and the importance of it, the importance of whatever's best for the child, and you know, not ever talking down about your spouse or your ex-spouse, because that child loves their mom or they love their dad just as much as the other, you know, they love the other one. So anyway, that's all I got for the opening.
I think where that's coming from too is people are real lax on their definition of what a friend is too, right?
It could be, but a few people doubled down and they were like, nope, my ex is my best friend and I'm married now and they have no problem with it.
Well, the title of friend to me is important. Like if I call you a friend, then I have different expectations of you than I do other people, don't you?
Absolutely I do.
Yeah.
But apparently some of these people are saying that they are best friends with their ex-husband or ex-wife, and they are now married to someone else, and their new spouse is okay with them being best friends with their ex-spouse. I can't wrap my brain around that.
I can't either. It's sitting here got me like then why didn't you just stay married?
Exactly. I mean,
if you're that close to where you can be best friends, then why the hell didn't you just stay married?
Exactly.
You could have made that work, right?
And they say, well, he or she is a better friend than a spouse.
Bullshit.
How's that make sense?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me either, because if you're friends, then you can make, I mean, you're not, even if you're with the perfect match for you, you're not going to check all the boxes. Like
Right.
that relationship is going to have some problems. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you're looking for a relationship where it checks every single one of the boxes, you're gonna strike out. You're not gonna find that person.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And so, why didn't you just stay married? That's my input on it. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I get being friendly,
Sure.
friendly, or
As long as the ex is, a civil person to your new spouse. If the ex is not a civil person to your new spouse, then don't even be friendly. Just be civil.
Yeah, straight and to the point.
Yeah.
You're actually, I don't want to talk about it, but you're speaking to me right now.
Yeah.
Because my wife and one of my exes doesn't get along at all. And I tried to be friendly, but every time I talk to her and my wife is even around, I get real tense. I get real nervous because I know they can't get along, and it makes me scared. You know what I mean? And so I keep her at a distance.
Yeah.
And I just shorten to the point because I'm afraid of what might happen. You know what I mean?
It's the way it ought to be. I mean, if they can't get along, you are married to somebody else now, and that's where your loyalty is. So if your ex has an issue with your current wife, then the only communication needs to be the facts. Here's what you need to know, and that's it. No idle chit chat.
Yeah. And she's great. She's great to me. It tells me how much she appreciates me and stuff like that. And we get along great. But anytime that my wife gets brought into the picture, I get super nervous. I mean, deadly nervous. I'm like, what's going to happen? So.
My son's mom, I mean, I'm very civil with her. I mean, I divorced her when my son was 7, 10 years ago, almost 11 years ago. And sometimes we go 9 months without talking on the phone. We'll text, but we don't need to talk. There's really not a need to talk. I mean,
when you guys are both at games and stuff together, because I'm sure she goes to all of his games too, right?
Well, she started coming this year, his senior year. We don't sit together. I don't even see her at the games.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. Mason sees her. My son sees her. I've asked him, did you see your mom? Yeah, she was there.
How long have you had your son? Just you?
Since he was 7.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah. Since you guys split up? Yeah. Can I ask you what happened there? Or do you not want to talk about it? Like, why did you get custody immediately?
Well, it was really not, it really wasn't a fight. I mean, he was my best friend, and she knew he was better with me. He would be better with me. And so, I mean, the day I walked out, I'd said, go pack a bag, and we're leaving. And he packed a bag, and we left. Was
it tough being a single dad for a kid that young?
Sometimes, but only when it really came to logistics, being a single dad. Like, I know a lot of single dads or single moms, you can't be everywhere at one time. And so, trying to go to work at, 4:00 in the morning when your son is 7 is, can be difficult, know?
Yeah.
And, try to get off work in time so that you can go pick him up from school, every day at 3:15 or 3:30 or whatever. So really it was just logistical issues. But as far as being a single dad relationship wise, man, I think it brought us even closer together, tighter.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you know this about me, but when my oldest was 7 and my youngest was 4, I got custody of them, and I became a single dad. And I think it's different because I had 2 girls that I was raising.
Right.
But when I first got them, I was like, oh, I got this. This will be easy. I don't need nobody, Mm-hmm. And I realized pretty quickly that they needed a woman in their life, that like they were starting to fart and burp, and I can't be a woman. I can't be a woman role model.
Right.
And luckily, and just like you said, I was having logistic issues because I was having to wake up at 4 and find a way to get them to babysitters. And Angela stepped up. She was my nanny before I married her, and she stepped up. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have been able to do it. But it was tough because they were girls, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to do the hair thing and stuff like that. But we made it work, you know.
Well, my most recent I got with my most recent ex-wife pretty quick after I divorced my son's mom, and me and Mason actually I bought a house, you know, within a year, a different house, and we were living with her, and she really did step in to help, like, get my son to school and you know stuff like that. And he wasn't real happy about having a new mother role in his life the first few years. I mean, he didn't give her grief. He just didn't really acknowledge her a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and he's admitted now, he's like, well, I just didn't. I mean, she wasn't my mom, you know.
Yeah.
My mom lived over down the road. So, you know, it's so hard on kids, you know.
It is, yeah.
But she was really trying to be, you know, she was trying to be there for him. And
my girls picked up pretty quick that they were the most important thing to me.
Yeah.
And they figured out pretty quick that they could get a woman out of there.
Oh yeah.
And they made it happen, because I would get in these relationships and I would go months before they ever met my girls. Months we'd be dating and everything would be going perfect. But I'm telling you, the first week where you try to integrate the girls into the relationship, it would tank. And I always look back at that, and part of it was the girls, and then part of it was that dating a single dad sounds all well and good until you're actually dating a single dad.
Right.
And then it's tough. I'm sure you dealt with that too. But and then Angela came along and they tried to vet her, but Angela made herself undeniable that we needed her. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you got any housekeeping notes this week?
I didn't prepare anything. No.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just want to remind people to hit us in the email. If you, we're needing phone callers. We're doing good on questions, but if you have a lot better chance of getting your questions answered if you hit that email. And then we need people to step up and make those phone calls. We need your help to make the Straight Shooter Show possible.
Yes.
Because the phone calls is what makes this show. So we need your help. We need callers. Email us if you want to call. Even if you've emailed before and wanted to call and I didn't get to you, email me again and I'll get to you this time. So. Or
if you've sent me a DM on TikTok and I haven't got to you yet, send an email. You're going to get answered a lot faster at the email than you are, because I'm so far behind on DMs on TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah, it's impossible for him to do all the DMs. So the email is the best way to get a hold of Jason if you want to do that. So I was curious, how's Zach M doing?
Man, he is really doing good. I've talked to him at least every other day, if not every other day. He's employed now. He's got a job with a OTR trucking company. He's been through his orientation. He is this week going to start with his trainer. They were real happy with him through his orientation and said that he probably won't be with a trainer more than maybe a week or a week and a half, and he'll have his own truck then. And we've just talked a lot about him over the next few years, really contemplating where he wants to settle down. You know, if he wants to get a local job somewhere, once he's saved all his money. And
but he's doing exactly what you said. He just hopped on it, huh?
He did. And he said that with the outpour of support from the podcast, that he has more motivation. Prior to the phone call, he said he was laying in bed a lot, just not really motivated to do anything. And he actually sent me a picture of some woodwork that he did in the garage before he left to go to orientation. And he's like, I just feel rejuvenated, and like almost like nothing can stop me now, that everybody's behind me and I've got all this support.
Yeah.
And I plan to, at least every other episode here on the podcast, update people on
I wonder,
how he's doing.
You think we can get him back on the phone for next weekend?
Oh, there's no doubt I can get him on.
Let's do it. Let's get him.
Well,
let's get him on the phone.
I don't know if I can next weekend because he'll still be in training with a trainer, and he'll kind of be at that trainer's. But the following week, if he's out of training, I'm certain.
Well, let's get him on as soon as we can.
Okay.
Because I'd like to talk to him. I want to hear an update just as a fan of the show.
Absolutely.
You know, so I'd like to hear from him because I've seen multiple people from Instagram, YouTube reaching out that live in Ohio that want to help him. And I don't know. I don't like being mushy, but you're inspiring people to do well. That actually treating people the way that you do can change people's lives, you know, and that's what I feel like you're doing, and it's great. Like, it's great to see that what we're doing is working.
Yes, sir.
Does that make sense? So
yes, sir.
All right, so you ready for an email?
Let's have it.
All right. So this was sent in by Anonymous. So many people's named Anonymous. That's weird, dude. So it says, hey, I had a question for you. So I've been talking to this girl for about 4 months, and we have grown very close to each other and want to date, but I'm a junior and she is a senior, and she's going across the country next year. I was just curious on what your opinion would be on should we just date or wait a long time? So long distance. So he's likes this girl. She's a year older. She's about to move across the country, and they like each other, and he wants to know if it's plausible to get in a relationship with her.
So here's what my advice would be on that type of situation is to obviously I always preach communication. Y'all need to communicate with each other about what your short-term and long-term, goal is going to be here. I would recommend that you don't get in a relationship knowing that she's going to be leaving at the end of school or after summer to move halfway across the country. If y'all want to spend time together, if y'all want to date, and keep it with the knowledge in your head, keep that on the forefront. This is not going to be a lasting thing. This is just for now. Whatever happens after you graduate, maybe you go to the same school, maybe you don't. Maybe you go halfway the other direction across the country. I would not try to maintain a long-distance relationship if you are a senior in high school and she's a freshman in college halfway across the country, because she's going to want those college experiences. She's going to want to go do things with her college friends, and it will eat you up, over time, not knowing where she's at, what she's doing. You'll have thoughts going through your head, and the likelihood that you're going to end up going to the same college that she's at a year later, it's probably pretty slim if it's halfway across the country. I mean, if it was just, 30 miles down the road, it might be different. But no way should you attempt to maintain a long-distance relationship like that. But I'm not going to say you shouldn't date her now. If you want to, I'm a real big advocate if you can be happy in the moment, and have the knowledge that this is not going to be forever. It's just for right now. Hey, do that. I've done that many times, and I don't regret it. I don't regret the time that I spent. I don't regret the time that I spent just for now. A good time, not a long time. So that's my advice to you is go ahead and have fun. Enjoy the time that you've got with her, but know that it's not going to be a long-term, situation. Y'all can stay friends. After she moves off, talk to her. Talk to her on the phone, text her, stay friends. Who knows what the future may hold, but don't try to stay in an exclusive, committed relationship that far away.
Man, I'd say get the hell out of there completely, because at that young, you almost can't control how you feel, Just get out before it gets too bad to where you just, you can't control what you're doing, So don't enjoy that 4 months or that 6 months or whatever they can before she goes. No, for me, no.
For me, it was definitely a yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
God, but then it just hurts more, I'm a chicken.
It's going to hurt anyway.
Yeah, I'm a chicken though. I'm that guy that, I'm the rabbit, and if the coyote comes within a million miles from me, I'm running. You know what I mean? I'm one of those guys that wants to get out of there, because here's the thing, like with us being older, we know what's going to happen, right? Like there's no way that relationship works when she moves away.
Right.
There's no way. We know that because we're older. So why not get the hell out of there now?
Okay, so what does he do between now and the time that she leaves? Does he find somebody else? Does he just stay single? What does he do? If he genuinely, he's been talking to her for 4 months already.
Yeah.
So, break it off now. It's going to hurt. Spend the next 6 months, getting over that.
And then she'll have to see him dating other girls or something, and then that would hurt her, and he'd feel like a piece of crap for hurting her.
He's already been talking to her for 4 months. They enjoy each other. They need to stay committed to what they are doing outside of their relationship. Like she has plans to go to college halfway across the country. She doesn't need to change those plans. That's her plan for her life.
Yeah.
She needs to maintain her plan.
Yeah.
He needs to have his own individual plan for his life. But what they do together as a couple between now and the time that she leaves, enjoy every day of it that you can.
As long as they both understand.
They have to understand. Y'all need to understand when she leaves, other than a friendship, that relationship is over. It's over.
I guess if you get in that mindset before she leaves, then it would be a little easier, right? But that's so hard. It's like you want to think it'll work. Like it's a cool pipe dream, but it's just not,
It won't work.
Man. Yeah. I know, man. I know. I'm just a scaredy cat, and I would get the hell out of there, but I'm a chicken, so don't listen to me. This is why Jason gives the advice.
This is called the Straight Shooter Show. So listen to what I am telling you.
Yeah, you should I say this all the time. You should definitely listen to Jason, not me, but all right, we're on to the phone calls. This week's phone call is a 30-year-old divorcee, says he never wanted a divorce on his life resume, so to speak. Right after he got a divorce, he got with a girl that got with his best friend behind his back. He was not only his best friend, but he was his work partner. He's an EMT and he's a medic. Now I just feel stuck and feel like no one wants me or wants to be with me. And he's wanting to call and talk to you today. So here he is.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. Got into the new year already, huh?
We did. Thank God 2020 is over.
No doubt. I've had it. So he read me your email right before the call.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
So tell me more. I mean, I've got the basis here. I've got the basics for so how long were you married?
I was married for 4 years and we were together for 8 years.
8 years total, 8 years prior to marriage.
4 years prior to marriage, 4 years total married.
Okay. And so then you got into a relationship pretty quick after the divorce?
Yeah, or like during the process of the divorce, actually.
Right. Yeah. And how old are you again?
I just turned 30 last July, so 30.
Okay. And so did the girl that you got into the relationship with, did she already know your work partner?
Yes. She was a dispatcher, so she knew all of us, and I guess you could say we were mutual friends, but me and her started talking before they did.
Yeah. And so was this like a one-night stand, or were they having an affair behind your back?
They were having an affair behind my back.
Okay. And so do you still work with them?
I work with him. She's no longer a dispatcher there.
And do you still work with him side by side daily?
No. He's not my partner anymore.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
And how's y'all's relationship since all of that?
We kind of did the guy thing. Like we hashed it out. Like we didn't fight or anything, but I confronted him about it. He apologized. And I mean, we squashed it. We won't ever be best friends again, obviously, but
right.
We're cordial with each other.
Yeah. So now you're 30 and you're just out there trying to move on in the romantic life, and you're just not feeling like, there's a lot of hope, or what?
Yeah, I guess I never wanted divorce on my life resume, so to speak. I thought when I married her that was the end, she was going to be the one. And then when I got with that other girl, she did that. And so it was like two knockout punches back to back that really knocked me down. Started drinking and just going in a downward spiral.
Yeah. A lot of us do that after a divorce breakup, especially after you get hit twice. What, if if you don't mind talking about it, what ended your marriage?
We were having financial difficulties. We weren't really making love anymore, and she wasn't interested in doing that. And I actually initiated a divorce without knowing it, if that makes sense, because we had a 2-bedroom apartment, and I was finally fed up with the no affection and the no talking and stuff. So I just moved a mattress into that second bedroom.
Right.
I was thinking we were going to be able to come back from that, but she all of a sudden went super silent treatment, wouldn't talk to me. And then to make matters worse, I went and stayed at my sister's for a little bit. Me and her started talking again. Everything was fine. Moved back in. She did the whole super silent treatment again. And so I finally was like, I'm going to move in with a friend, so maybe we can work this out. And I did not have all my stuff out of the apartment yet. I didn't really have anything, just the necessities. And I'm an EMT, and I work 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And she took it upon herself to have her friends and her move all of my stuff out of the apartment while I was on shift that night.
Yeah.
And so when I got back to the station at 6 a.m., she sent me a text and said, all your stuff's in storage. I want a divorce. I don't want to work on this anymore.
Hmm. And how long ago was that, the divorce?
It's going on 2 years.
Yeah. Any communication with her now, or is that history?
We kind of messed around after we got divorced, but that's no longer happening. We actually had a miscarriage, so that just added more stress.
Right. Yeah, and that's pretty typical. Even if during the marriage there's no intimacy, once the marriage is over, oftentimes they'll come back to you because they still have needs, and maybe they don't really want to go out play in the field, and they feel like you're safe, and they're used to you and everything. So that's pretty typical. And sometimes they think if they show you that affection, that it will bring you back in, and then until you get back, and then it drops off again. It's just kind of a pattern that I see with a lot of women primarily when it comes to that right there.
Yeah.
At any rate, so I'm not exactly sure, I can tell you all the stuff that I would tell anybody else. You're definitely, 30 is not too late. It's not like hell, I was 40. I was almost 40 whenever I married my last wife. There's still, do you have any kids? Are you wanting kids?
No, we didn't have any kids.
Are you wanting to have a family?
Yes.
Yeah. And what are you doing right now as far as putting yourself out there into the dating scene?
I work a lot, so I'm pretty much just talking to the girls that are in my, I guess, work circle kind of thing.
Right.
Nurses and stuff like that.
And you work weekends or just during the week?
I work Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and every other Wednesday. So.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and every other Wednesday.
And then I work some overtime on the weekends. It just depends on what's available.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds like you have, available time especially on the weekends, on Friday and Saturday nights for dating. I'm going to ask you to, put yourself out there a little more outside your circle. You don't necessarily have to go to dating sites, because unless you're going to go to one that's a paid, like you're going to pay a monthly fee or whatever, I think most of those are primarily hookup sites anyway. And you're probably, I'm not saying that there's not women on there that aren't good quality women, but it just seems to me like if it's a free site or you don't really pay anything, then it's probably just for a hookup, short-term type of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm going to ask you to put yourself out there a little bit more outside of your circle, and always be on the look whenever you are grocery shopping, or when you are at Target or any department store, or if you're at a gas station, anywhere that you are. If you see a woman that you find attractive, obviously check for the ring, make sure there's no ring. And if there's no ring and you think she's attractive, I want you to put yourself out there and say, hey, my name's whatever. Try to see if they'll shake your hand. If they shake your hand, say, I was just noticing how beautiful you are, or how pretty you are. I'm I'm out in the dating world right now. I was wondering if, you might like to talk, or, if I give you my number, could I get your number? Something that always worked real well for me is I would always have my phone open, like you're ready to put a contact in, and I would just hand them my phone and say, could I have your number? And more often than not, they taken by surprise, and if they're single, they'll put their phone number in your phone for you. Sometimes they put a wrong number in there, but most of the time they don't.
Yeah.
But I certainly don't think that 30 years old is, I wouldn't give up hope for sure. And every girl's not the same. So just because things didn't work out with the marriage, I never wanted to get divorced either. No, most people don't. When they get married, they think that's it. And, life happens. And then there's a whole bunch of us out here. There's a whole bunch that's been divorced multiple times that didn't even want to get divorced one time. So, don't look down on yourself that happened. And, not every girl's going to be like the girl that was messing around on you either. So I just want you to put yourself out there outside of your circle more. And, just convince yourself, make sure you have the confidence, and just say, look, what the worst thing that's going to happen here is she's going to reject me. And if she does, that's fine. Just shake that one off and move on to the next one. That's the best advice that I think that I could give you, for trying to move forward. And, the more opportunity or the more options that you have, it may not be the first girl that you talk to, or the 10th girl that you talk to is going to be the one that you want to spend all your time with. But, the more options that you have available to you, then the better chance you're going to have at settling down with the right one. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So, I see it all the time in the city that I'm from, and probably any small town across the country. People, they don't go outside the norm, the people they work with, or the people they grew up with, or the people that, they introduced to by a friend. But if you're just limiting yourself to the people that you work with or work around, then your options really aren't open to you the way that they should be.
Yeah, and mixing business and personal does not always go well.
Yeah, not always. Oftentimes not.
Yeah, I've done it a lot, so I have experience with that.
I really want you to do this. I want you to, when we get off the phone, I want you to really put a lot of thought into this. And for that matter, you don't even have to take everything I said. Google, just get on your computer. Google, don't use cheesy pickup lines, but you can Google best way to pick up, best way to introduce yourself to a girl, best way to just start reading up stuff like that. And I always tell people to read that 5 Languages of Love. Get that book if you've never read it, and start reading that book. to get your mindset and figure out what your love language is, so that when you do meet the right girl, hopefully she's read the book. And if she hadn't, maybe you can convince her to read it too. And y'all will understand each other's love languages. And the next relationship, maybe will go a little easier, because if you're understanding and communicating with each other properly.
Yeah.
But anyway, I want you to email me back, say 30 days or 60 days, put a calendar in your calendar to email me and let me know how things have gone with pursuing women outside of your normal circle.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, I really appreciate you being on the show this morning, and I hope that helps, and I look forward to the email.
Thank you.
You bet, buddy.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, it's kind of like the other Zach that called, what was it, the week before last? Where
he was afraid to put himself back out there.
Afraid to put himself back out. It's kind of in a similar situation, ain't he? Listen, failure's a part of life, man.
Yeah.
Very rarely, especially nowadays, are you going to get in a relationship and it just work the first time. Like, it seems like there's a lot of people that's been through this crazy stuff, like their best friends. It's happened to me. Hell, I married a dispatcher too from my workplace. My first wife was a dispatcher, and whenever I was a police officer, and that didn't work out. And my best friend tried to, I'm in the same situation as him, and I'm 35, and I just got married in August, so there's hope. Yeah. You just got to put yourself out there. And yes, we do want to hear from you again to see how it's going.
Absolutely.
Straight Shooter gave you some homework, so in 30 days, we're going to want to hear from you and see how you're doing. So, and
get that book. And start reading it.
Yeah. Yep, there is hope, and you sound like a super down-to-earth guy, and so I'm sure some chicks will love to be with you. So
be confident. You're the man.
Yep. Go up and smack them with a cucumber in Walmart.
Stop telling people to do stuff like that.
What? That's perfect.
Zach.
God. All right, so on to the next call. This guy's going to remain anonymous, but I want to give him a name, so we'll just call him Bill.
All right.
So Bill said he was engaged, and it failed. So after my engagement, he dated a girl, but she was totally not into him, so he had to cut ties. Next relationship after her, we were okay, but she definitely had some anger issues and definitely was not over her ex at all. I blame her ex for making her this way. I really thought she was going to be the one and will be my future. He was wrong. Now he questions if all these problems are from him, if he's ugly, if he's doing something wrong, or he said he's just so ready to be in a relationship and be loved, and he needs to help. He wants to talk to you about that. So,
okay.
All right, Bill. Here's Bill.
Hey, Bill. Thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate you.
Hey, I really appreciate you so much. Thanks for taking the time.
Absolutely. So he read it. He read your email, your message to me. Could you kind of just give me a rundown of what's going on exactly and how I can help you?
All right. So I've been in on and off, I've been dating. So long story short, I was engaged 3 years ago, and then it got kind of toxic. So of course we definitely broke up. We didn't we didn't talk to each other or whatsoever. And then so then that was over with. And then after that, I totally just went kind of depressed mode. I didn't want to date anybody. I thought every girl was just going to shoot me down. I thought every girl was just kind of the same, So I kind of just stepped it up a bit. And then I started dating again. But every girl that I seemed to date was not really what I want in a female. I'm more of I'm going to school, I have a good job, and that's what I want in other women. They have their goals straight, they have their priorities straight, stuff like that, right?
Right.
And then most of the girls out here, at least where I'm at, they're not like that. They're more of hookups and parties and stuff like that. And again, I'm 27, and the last girl that I dated was in her early 20s, so it's like she's still in that mode, you know. And so it definitely puts me in a spot where I think I might have to be single for the rest of my life, or and there's not, and I'm not saying this like in a bad way, but I really don't want to be around my age group. They're either moms or like single moms, and I'm not saying I would never date a single mom, but I'm pretty sure there's like a girl out there for me that is not, you know, is not a mom. She's not, you know, she has her priorities straight, stuff like that. But I feel like everywhere I go, they're either single moms or, you know, stuff like that. And I had some like rough relationships, and my last, like my engagement definitely, you know, put me in a spot where I learned from it. I got my money straight. I got, you know, I matured. I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty toxic, you know, and then put two toxic people together. What does that happen, you know?
Right, right.
So I definitely learned a lot from that relationship, and then even from my I dated this girl for like 3 months, like a couple of months or so, and then I learned from that, you know, too. But then again, it just puts me back in like in the mode of like, am I really ever going to find someone out there for me? And you know, and then for this like new year, I already, you know, planned out my life. I plan to get my own place, stuff like that. Fortunately for me, I am with my parents, so saving money won't be, you know, that bad. But I mean, just me finding my companion. Everywhere I go, at least where I'm at, everybody's either married or they have kids. My best friends, they're all married and they have kids, and they have their life set. And then I'm over here about to turn 28 in a few months. So it's like, what's gonna happen? You know what I mean? I feel like time's going and gone, and time's passing. And it's like I still don't have the love of my life and stuff like that. And then I thought my last, like my engagement, that the person I was with, I thought she was the love of my life, etc. You know, and then it's like, okay, I blew it. You know what I mean? So now like, I don't know where to stand from here on out.
Okay, a few things. Do you want to have kids of your own someday?
Yeah, definitely. You know, but of my own.
Right.
Like I said, I'm not saying I would never date a single mom, but I just don't want to. Like, I don't want that to be my only option.
No,
You know?
I hear you. I hear you. Look, everybody has, you know, things in life that they want and things that they look for. I'm glad to hear that you have thought it through enough that, you know, you want somebody who is, you know, has some goals, who, you know, has their money right, or is going to school, or, you know, wants the same things that you want. And look, I mean, I don't cast stones at anybody if they don't want to date somebody who already has kids, because that is a lot. I mean, that's a lot. You know, whether you're a man, you know, dating a woman, a single mom, or if you're a woman that's taking on a man who's a single dad, it's a lot. So nobody can cast stones. That's your preference. That's what you want for your life. And anybody who gives you a hard time, if that's one of your deals, well, piss on them. That's your life. You you got to do what's right for you. And so, I mean, I hear you say that you're not ruling it out, but it's just not your preference. And I get that. So here's the deal. What state do you live in?
I live in Utah.
In Utah?
Yeah. So it's like I love it here. I really do. Like, everything about it here is really nice and stuff, but it's just kind of like, it's one of these states that once you're out of high school, and it's a religion thing, and it's once you're out of high school, you start, you know, you start dating, and then once you're like 19, 20, you're married, you know?
Yeah.
And obviously I'm not that religion. I'm more of like, I want to get my money right, get my degree, and then hopefully find the one, you know. And then with my previous relationships, like every relationship that I have, definitely shows me and teaches me a lot. You know, all of my ex prior, you know, my recent ex, she definitely taught me to, like, step it up, get your money straight, etc. And then the girl before that totally just I kind of didn't want to be in her life just because she was really toxic. And then my engagement definitely taught me to be a better man and not be the way that I was. So it's like, now how do I prove that out there, if that makes sense? Like,
okay, wait, I want to back up just a second. You said that on your engagement, you said that you screwed that up. What happened? What broke off that engagement?
So it was just really toxic. It was more fighting. It was more like communication was a big thing for me. I did not know how to communicate, and she did not know how to communicate either. So put those two together, and it's like a huge war between us two. And it's more of like just fighting for little things, and of course those little things turn into big things and etc. And then just things like that. And I definitely, and I admit it, yeah, I was toxic, and I definitely learned from it, and I definitely changed my ways, and but then from that relationship, it kind of put me in a spot like, holy crap, was she the one? And I just totally messed it up, And then I was told, once you find the one and you mess that up, you won't find the one again. And I always had that on my mind, like, for the longest time. And then for sure, I've been dating around, and then it's like, what the heck? Maybe I did screw something up, because every girl that I dated after her, it's not the same anymore,
Well, it's not going to be the same, and I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Well, first of all, I don't believe she was the one, because you both, you just said that neither one of you had communication skills with each other. I mean, there's a reason. There's a reason for that. And I don't know if I even believe in the one. I think that, there could be, any one of us could have 1,000 the ones. It's who you can communicate well with, who you can, build a life with, who you can settle in with. And, you got each other's back 100%. I mean, that's the one, but it could be that girl, but it wasn't, or it could be the next girl that you talk to, or it could be the 10th girl from now that you talk to, that y'all have that relationship, and she's going to be the one. So I just don't believe that we all have the one that, if you lose out on that one, then that's it. I lost the one, because it's not a fact in my mind. I mean, you the relationship that you create, together makes you the one and makes her the one for you. So we get a lot of this, guys in your age group, that have been through a series of relationships, who, are partially just afraid to get back out there and date. It doesn't sound to me like you are. You're just, the women that you are finding aren't what you're looking for. And that's fine. I mean, you got to go through, I mean, you've watched my videos, and I always talk about interview right from the beginning, so that you can evaluate, is this person in line with my way of thinking? And it sounds to me like you're doing that. And that you just have to continue to do that. I mean, go ahead and keep hitting up, these girls for dates, or, to talk and find out what they're about. Because sometimes, I mean, you see a beautiful, beautiful girl at the grocery store and get her phone number and talk to her for 10 minutes on the phone and realize, I don't care how good she looks, she's nothing. She has nothing in common with me. She has no goals. She has nothing, to offer this relationship with me. And so I would say that when you are out looking around and you are approaching women, you know what? If a woman is, in your mind, if she is mildly good looking, go ahead and talk to her, because sometimes you talk to a girl that she's not a 10 visually. Maybe she's a 6 or a 7 visually, But then you get to talking to her and you find out what she's about and the direction that she's going in her life, and she becomes a 9 because you become so attracted to who she is. And so, you know.
And then it's funny because, like, my sister, she'll be like, "You're just too picky," and I'm like, "No." Like, ever since that breakup, you know, and I had multiple breakups, and honestly, I think this engagement was like the hardest one.
Right.
But it definitely, you know, it made me change my ways, you know. And my sister says I'm too picky, you know. You just need to, you know, give, you know, women a chance. But it's like I got my standards, you know. They're so high right now, and I blame it all for my previous relationships. And, like, you know, if you're not the one, then I'll just keep looking. But then it's like, holy crap, maybe she was the one. Maybe I messed up, you know. My recent relationship, she had, like, you know, past toxic relationship, and I felt like she brought that toxic into our relationship, because, you know, it definitely got the toxic right out of me. But then I kind of kicked back a bit, and then I just kind of, you know, we just broke up right there and then. You know, I definitely don't want another toxic relationship. So I'm glad that one ended. But then it's like, okay, was it my fault? So I keep blaming myself. I always blame myself when it comes to breakups. You know, always. And,
well, stop doing that.
And that.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, unless you are digging deep and you really are the toxic one, you really are the one that is creating this toxicity in the relationship. I mean, you ought to be able to know if you are, and if you're not, stop blaming yourself. I mean, take responsibility for your part, but if you weren't the major contributor to the issues, then you weren't. You got out, or she got out, good riddance, and you move on. So the more you blame yourself, if you are really not the issue, I mean, if you are not the one that is creating the problems, and then you turn around and blame yourself, it just brings your self-confidence down, and it makes it more difficult for you moving forward with another woman. Right. So, I mean, you need to let them accept that they had the issues that they had, take responsibility for the issues that you had, and make the changes that you need to make for the issues that you had. And like I've already heard you say several times, that you've learned from all these different relationships. And that's why I'm sitting in this chair right here. It's why I'm doing this show, because I've learned from all the different things. And some people don't. They don't learn. They just keep doing the same thing, you know, over and over and over. So, I mean, it sounds to me like you have a really good head on your shoulders already, and you know what you want. And I hear you saying your sister says you're too picky. No, I don't. I mean, unless she's saying you're too picky about a woman's looks, but if she's saying you're too picky about what you want out of, you know, a relationship with a woman, no, you want what you want, and I wouldn't settle. For less than that.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what it's not about the look. It's more of, like, you know, like if she, you know, she going to school, type like that. You know, I'm not, like, I'm more of, you know, what do you have set for yourself? You know, and if I don't dig it, then I don't think we're gonna last. Because once once I graduate, like, it's off. You know, like I set in stone. I got my career, etc. And I kind of expect that from you too. You know, like, right. But and that's what I look for. That's, like, the way I'm picky. You know.
Well, I always say you have to have your list of deal breakers. I mean, write them down or put them in your notes so that they're visual to you. And if a girl that has 3 small children that's a deal breaker for you, and you find out, you meet a girl and she has 3 small children, she's done. She's not for you. Yeah. Doesn't mean she's not a great girl. Doesn't mean she won't have a wonderful relationship with another man. But for you, she's not for you. If she doesn't have an education, or she's not going to school to get an education, she's not for you. So, you should be able to run through pretty fast and not get in don't get in a relationship. Just continue to interview, continue to talk, continue to, you know, look, for the ones that, can make the check marks for you. And you may not find one that marks every single box, I mean, if you have 25 boxes, maybe she marks 20 of them. Can you live with the 5 that she didn't mark? If you can, if she doesn't mark those 5 check boxes, but she brings so much value to the relationship, then you can maybe consider getting in a relationship with her.
Right.
I just wouldn't give
And
up.
then-
I'm telling you not to give up.
Yeah. And with the age, honestly, and I know you guys might laugh, but I feel like I'm going through a midlife crisis. Just because I've seen all my friends, like, married and etc. And I'm over here with nothing, So it's like, when is it my time, like by 30, I should be able to, like, have my place, etc. And hopefully, a wife and, stuff like that. But honestly, I don't see that, like, I just don't see that.
Okay. So you say that you have nothing, but you do have something. You're not in a toxic marriage. You're not in a marriage with someone that wouldn't be right for you. You're not in a marriage that may likely end up in divorce because you've been careful. You've been selective, and you haven't taken that plunge with the wrong person. So you do have something. You got something going for you. You don't have a divorce on your record. You don't have kids and a broken home. So you do have something. I mean, consider that. I mean, those friends of yours that are married and have their homes and their kids, you don't live with them. You don't know what things are going on behind closed doors. Maybe they're all going to last forever, or maybe half of them are going to end up in divorce, raising kids in a broken home. You don't know. So while things may look to you, like everything's hunky-dory with your friends, they may not be. So I don't let other people's situations gauge where I'm at in life ever. And I tell my son this constantly because he's like, that guy, man, he drives this $80,000 truck. Yeah. Well, have you ever seen where he lives? Have you ever seen what he eats for lunch every day? Have you ever seen, does he go on vacation? I mean, circumstances around other people's lives, you don't know. You don't know what all their circumstances are. So I wouldn't allow other people's circumstances, or where they appear to be in life, have any effect on you. You know where you're at and what you want. So I just keep moving forward with your life and what you want to do.
All right. Definitely. That totally makes sense, man.
Okay.
Totally.
Good. I'm glad it does. And I always tell my callers I want an email update. And give me a 30, 45, 60 day, put it in your calendar to send me an email at some point in the next month or two to just let me know how things are going. So that I just want to have an idea of how things are going for you.
Yeah, definitely. Will do.
Okay. Hey man, I appreciate you being on the show this morning, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Hey, I appreciate you too. And thank you so much.
You bet. All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right, that was
Bill.
Man, I think being that picky is not a bad thing at all. And in fact, it's what most people lack. And you said it perfectly, that you don't know what all those other people that you're jealous of, you don't know what they're going through. They could all be toxic relationships.
Right.
And probably most of those won't even make it. And so you're not going to be one of those half people that aren't, because you are being picky. I would argue that getting married, picking the one that you're going to spend the rest of your life with, is the most important decision you can make in your entire life, right? Because that's literally, your kids are going to grow up and they're going to leave you someday.
Right.
Your parents, they're solid. It doesn't matter. You can't choose that. But the person that you're going to choose to raise a family with is the most important decision you can make in your life.
Yeah.
And so many young people waste large chunks of time with people they will not spend the rest of their life with.
Yep.
And he's not doing that. So he's not too picky. He's just enough picky,
I like where he's at. I mean, the fact he's still living at his folks' house, he's finishing up his education, he's getting his money right, he's not settled for the wrong one. And
No.
I mean, I can see how somebody can get, discouraged. I understand it, but I just really like where he's at. I mean, I like his frame of mind, his mindset. And just something that Trey Lewis said when I was talking to him last week is, you get out, people, they get out of a relationship and then they, they kind of search around a little bit and then they meet somebody and they kind of like them all right. And they're like, well, I'll start spending time with this person. And, neither one of them are really that happy. I mean, they'll do,
Yeah.
It's a warm body,
Yeah.
And it may be more than that, but that's, I mean, people, they're like, well, I'm going to overlook this red flag and that red flag and that red flag. I'm going to let them treat me this way because, and this is comfortable now. And they just stay in something that's not right.
Yes.
And
that's what I'm saying. People waste so much time being with someone that they know it's not going to work out just to have that feeling of comfort,
Mm-hmm.
I've done it too. I don't want
to.
Like everybody has, And so you need to stop wasting large chunks of time with people that if you really think about it, everybody that's listening right now, you've probably been in a relationship that didn't work out, and in the beginning, not in the beginning, but somewhere near the front of it, you probably knew it wasn't going to work out. This person and me are probably not going to work out, and then you let it go on too long. And then you wasted too much time when you could have broke that off when you realized it wasn't going to work amicably, broke it off, and then moved on trying to find making the most important decision that you can possibly make in your life.
Or bad, things happened in the beginning that, you thought, well, we'll work through this. And I'm not saying not to work through issues. I mean, issues come up, but if it's major issues that come up in the beginning and you're like, okay, well, we can work through this. And then it happens again. It's going to happen again and again and again. And you just keep trying to work through the same damn thing.
Yeah. It's so tough to get out of there. And I understand that. That's what I'm not saying it's easy. It is so tough to get out of there. And Jason and I both have stayed in relationships that we shouldn't have for way too long. So we understand it's not easy, but if your ultimate objective is to be with the right one, you've got to stop wasting large chunks of time on the wrong one.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom line. You got any final takeaways from what you want to tell everybody that's listening today?
Well, you made a lot of sense there at the end, and you're not supposed to normally do that, but
did I?
You did.
Woo! I win one.
No, man, I enjoyed both those calls, and we are really getting a lot of that, with right now with guys in particular that are just having that trouble, moving on, especially after toxic relationships, or somebody cheating on you with your work partner is pretty damn toxic. But I'm really looking forward to next week's show. Please send me an email. Send me emails and let me know what you want to talk about. If you want to be on the show and talk to me for the show, or I'll just answer your question and you can keep your name anonymous, because we get a whole lot of anonymous around here.
A lot of bills.
And I say a lot of stuff on here, and while you may not agree with everything that I say, always going to shoot you straight.
You have been listening to The Straight Shooter Show. Come back every Wednesday for new episodes.